and they're really not letting any of us go any closer than we are right now. Brooke, if you can see the scene down the street from me, this is East Capitol Street where we're standing. You can see all the emergency responders there. We had to walk some distance to get where we are. We were cordoned off on several streets north and northwest of the Capitol as we made our way up here. Capitol is still on lockdown, we're told, and that's really the situation. People were told to shelter in place. People outside were initially told to take cover, but we did get word a short time ago that there's no active threat to the public right now. So this incident may be winding down, Brooke. The latest we were told again is a male suspect shot and wounded by Capitol Police. That suspect now en route to the hospital. Brooke.
Brian, thank you and your PJ for the hustle, just so we could have eyes on the scene there down First Street Northeast in North Capitol. We're now hearing from more eyewitness accounts. Here's another one who was apparently inside.
You left your wallet behind?
And my cell phone and everything. My whole life's in there, but it was more important to get out than actually worry about that when the active shooters were there.
So what happened?
We were here with colleagues for lobbying, and we were going through the visitor center security. And as I walked through, we heard, get out, there's an active shooter. And so we all ran out, went around the side of the building to be secure, and then we were relocated up from the building. The police escorted us up the building.
And when you start to talk about it, I hear it in your...
Yes, it's still anxiety producing, sure. It's the most stressful experience I've ever had in my life.
What went through your mind when you hear that active shooter, get out, get out?
Just get out and be safe, and oh my God, what could happen? Yeah, it's pretty sobering, for sure.
I'm sure people that you know, that love you, that care about you, knew you were going to be here today. They knew that you were going to be in the Capitol. You fielding calls?
Well, my phone's still in the Capitol building, so I can't field any calls. I'm hoping to do that soon, maybe with somebody else's phone, but to let everybody know I'm okay. But yeah.
And you're on the Capitol grounds often. You know, this is a real threat that people deal with all the time. Will it change your mind going into the Capitol, coming on the grounds in the future?
No, I think that I need to do that. I think that we need to continue to have life as usual. You know, I don't think we should let a shooter kind of dictate our lives.
What was the response when they were telling you guys, get out, get out? Were they, you know, kind of hurting you in one direction?
They were pretty much screaming at us, get out, get out. They were trying to keep us safe, so they were pretty loud, and they were kind of pushing us out. And, you know, you're concerned that the shooter's outside, so the guns are drawn. They were out, you know, making sure we were safe, but it was pretty anxiety-producing, even that part of it.
How many people in the visitor center when this happened?
I don't know. In the visitor center, probably there's about 20 people in the security line. Because the line had just started moving right as the shooter was called. So maybe about 20 people.
And did you sense sort of like a swell that something was going on before the shouting began?
No, we all started scattering as soon as the shout happened. I just ran through, ran out, got out of the building.
And what's going through your mind now? You're on the other side of the barricade. You're safe. They've got this gunman in custody.
Well, my biggest concern is getting my stuff back because it's got my life in there. But just that I'm safe, and you know, I need to process it with my colleagues that I'm here with, and just continue to be safe while I'm here.
A life-changing experience?
Definitely, but I'm not sure what that is yet. I'm still processing. I'm pretty much in shock still.
And tell me your name.
J.M. Ivasovich, Dr. Ivasovich.
Got to be back in the Capitol tomorrow?
Yes, we have lobbying again tomorrow, for sure.
All right. Crazy experiences for people in the...
All right, so that's one of the local reporters there in Washington, just sort of dipping in and listening to different eyewitness accounts. Some folks working on Capitol Hill on this day after Easter. Some folks, you know, just wanting to enjoy what the Capitol Visitor Complex can offer. And so shocking for, I'm sure, so many people in there. Dana Bash has been with us through all of this. And Dana Bash, you have some news. What do you have?
That's right, Brooke. I've been talking to a law enforcement official, but to be perfectly honest with you, since we want to make sure we have all of our T's crossed and our I's dotted, I'm going to try to get one more. I'm going to get one more source on it, just a little bit more information about what happened, and I will get back to you. So I'm going to toss it back to you as I try to do that. Brooke.
You got it. You got it. You do that. I'll take it from here. Art Roderick has just been seated. We were talking on the phone a bit ago, and now I have you, former U.S. Marshals, and you know the Capitol Visitor Complex. I mean, what we don't know is a lot, by the way. We don't know exactly where it happened, but listening to one of the eyewitnesses saying he was sitting in one of these movie theaters, you know where that is.
Exactly.
Where?
I mean, the way the way the visitor center is set up, there's a long approach before you get to the doors. You got to walk down several flights of steps, and then there's a long area so that the lines can wait to get into the front doors. As soon as you walk into the front doors, you have security there, and on the other side of security, you have a bunch of greeters. Then you walk down some steps into the area where you pick up your tickets.
Let me hit pause with you for
sure.
just a second. I just want to tell everyone, I just got in my ear, per U.S. Capitol Police, the lockdown has been lifted.
Right.
Lockdown has been lifted. This is over. But that said, a lot of questions remain. Please continue, sir.
Yeah, so when you walk down into the main area where you pick up your tickets, there's a bunch of greeters down there that help you get to where exactly.
And by the way, to
you
even
have
get
to
in
go.
there, you're walking through metal detectors.
Yes, you go through metal detectors just to get into that area alone. So if this occurred in the movie theater area, which is in the back portion,
that's getting deeper and
that's
deeper and
deeper into the facility, which I'm sort of shocked at that somebody was able, if you're walking through metal detectors, to get a handgun down into that area. And you can't get there unless you're a staffer, or you have a staff badge, or you're an actual member of Congress. You can't get to that area without coming through the visitor center. Now, congressmen and senators and staffers can come through their buildings to get through underground transport to get to that
How
area.
big are we talking? I mean, I think I have an idea. I've only been at the Capitol Visitor Center once or twice, but I never sat for a video. Are these like relatively small areas? Like how many people on a tour would be?
There are, yeah.
Dozens?
They have a couple dozen probably. They can hold max maybe 50. The setup is you go in and you can look around at how the Capitol was built. They have different dioramas set up as to the way the Capitol looked 100 years ago, 150 years ago. And then you have these little movie theaters off to the side that give you a little 20-minute, 20-minute movie as to the history of the Capitol. And that sounds to me like where this might have occurred. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I know there are a couple movie theaters off that particular area.
That's what it sounded like from that eyewitness.
Right.
Chris Freites is with me now. He is also live there on the scene near the U.S. Capitol building. Chris Freites, what do you know?
Hey, good afternoon, Brooke. So we know that House Speaker Paul Ryan has been briefed on the incident. He is not here in Washington today. And we also have some updates on other legislative leadership. I can tell you that Nancy Pelosi is in San Francisco. Her staff was not anywhere near the incident. And I can also tell you that Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, was home in Louisville. His staff is also safe. So we know that 3 of the 4 legislative leaders were not here in Washington during this incident. We've checked in with them and their staffs are safe. I have not heard back from Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid yet in his office. So we are still trying to make sure that the leader is safe and what his whereabouts were during this incident, Brooke. But I can tell you that House Speaker Paul Ryan has been briefed on this incident and his staff is safe and sound.
Freites, thank you again. If you're just joining us here, according to actually the loudspeaker and U.S. Capitol Police, you know, they have speakers throughout this entire complex. Initially, there were over the speaker you would hear Capitol building lockdown, shots fired, and then apparently over the loudspeaker they were saying that the lockdown has now been lifted. We know that a male suspect has been shot by U.S. Capitol Police. That person is en route, or perhaps by now is at the hospital. And there was a female who, you know, just innocent bystander who happened to be hit by the shrapnel, so she was injured as well. Art Roderick is with us, and so you're talking about how familiar you are with this Capitol Visitor Center there in D.C. Beyond that, you were talking or texting with the staffer on the Hill today.
Yes, I was. I've got several friends that work up on the Hill coming from D.C. area, so they knew they were in lockdown. They were texting me, and they were assured everything was okay. The situation was actually taken care of pretty quickly. And they were notified right away, hey, there's no threat, but we're going to keep everybody in lockdown until we're absolutely sure.
It's incredible how fast that happens for them,
It was very quick, and they were told, we're just making sure there's no other actors involved in this active shooter incident.
We have more sound from eyewitnesses. Let's roll it.
Hi there. We were in the North Theater doing the little orientation video that they do before you go on your tour, and right in the middle of the video they came over the loudspeaker saying that you're going to be sheltered in place, there's an active shooter, and just to stay there. And so we did. The video kept playing, and shortly after that Capitol Police came in, told us that there was a shooting and that we needed to stay there. They had armed guards outside the doors, and we were probably safer there than anywhere else we could be. So,
Ms. Vincent, in the world in which we live today, you hear the words active shooter, that is enough to strike terror into anyone in the United States. What went through your mind? What was the feeling inside that theater?
Well, the first thing I did was start praying, because any fear that we have in this world, I know I can put that before God and He can take care of it, and that's immediately what I did.
What about the other people? What was going on in there when they heard those words?
A lot of talking amongst themselves, seeing everybody get their phone out to see what was going on. Lady next to us calling some of her family members who were not there with her.
One more time, you said it too fast.
I think there was a lot of fear for people. The Capitol Police did a good job of coming in and keeping things calm.
Sassy, what did you just say?
I could still tell that your voice is still somewhat tremulous, still a bit shaken up by this, which is very understandable.
Certainly something we weren't prepared for, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, take care, and thank you for talking with us. Again, people pouring.
All right, again, just hearing from more and more people who on this beautiful spring Monday wanted to head down to the U.S. Capitol building. And it sounds like somewhere, perhaps according to these eyewitnesses, from within one of these orientation video areas where all these tourists sit, perhaps before continuing on, that may be where the shots were fired. Manu Raju, you know the U.S. Capitol building so well. We were just talking to Art Roderick, who was explaining sort of how deep and down hallways you would have to be, and the metal detectors and everything else in order to walk through here with a gun. Can you lay out the space? How large would these theater areas be where the shots would have been fired?
Well, it depends exactly where, of course, the shots were fired. If actually this gun actually entered into the complex, or if it happened as the shooter was entering. I think that we're still trying to get that.
A great point.
Exactly. That's one thing we're trying to figure out. Of course, if the gun were in the Capitol Visitor Center complex, that it raises a huge security alarm that someone could actually get a gun in the complex, especially at this time of such high people being on such high edge from all these terrorist incidents overseas. But if they were to get in, this is a huge complex, and there are tons and hundreds of people just walking around. So any way you look at it, even if it's going through that metal detector, there are lots of people who are going through. There are usually big lines of people trying to get into the Capitol Visitor Center complex. So that's what creates such a huge security risk, no matter exactly how the gun, where the shooting took place, whether it was right as the shooter was entering the Capitol Visitor Center complex or actually in the Capitol Visitor Center complex. That's a huge question we're trying to figure out right now, Brooke.
Manu, thank you. We are hearing from more people who are inside, more eyewitnesses. Take a listen to this.
And your wife, obviously, this had to have been pretty scary at the time. Can you describe to us where you were, what you heard, what you saw, what happened?
We were just exiting the Senate Gallery from visiting there, and they escorted us back to the Senate Gallery chambers, said the Capitol was being put on a lockdown. And so they escorted everybody else. There was probably, 40 people that they escorted back into a section of the Senate Gallery chamber. And they did advise us about every 5 minutes, give us an update as to the lockdown and what was going on.
Your kids, what kind of questions were they asking Mom and Dad?
They were just worried that they didn't have their iPads.
Okay, well, you know what? Sometimes ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah, it is. At 4 and 9, they really didn't need to know what was going on
exactly.
and everything. But with the updates, they gave us, updates, and they were very congenial to us, very hospitable, and made us feel safe.
Everyone who has walked out of that area has described sort of the same experience, that they were getting a lot of communication, and that you were getting the updates, which in a situation like that with it unfolding, you don't expect to hear that from folks as you're walking out of a situation.
That's correct. In this, there was no lack of communication. Everything was well communicated as far as what was going on, and everybody was made to feel safe.
Okay. And when you walked out, what did you see? Were there ambulances, police presence, or were you able to just sort of escape all?
We kind of escaped all that. We came out the Senate entrance and exit, and so it was kind of closed off. Nobody was around that. So, but it was an interesting experience, to say the least, on spring break.
To say the very least. Yeah, well, we're sorry that happened, but we're glad that everybody's okay. Obviously a learning lesson for the kids. We hope you enjoy the rest of your time here.
All right, thank you.
Yep, take care.
Spring break, a lot of kids. Look at all these little ones walking in and around the U.S. Capitol building. Again, we have learned that it was Capitol Hill police who took down that gunman who was injured en route to the hospital, and there was a female bystander who was hit by some of the shrapnel from some of the shooting. Again, not entirely clear where where this happened. We definitely don't know why this happened or how the gun got inside this Capitol Visitors Complex, if it was on sort of the periphery or deeper within. Gloria Borger, with the 90 seconds I have left, I mean, I think to your point, Dana and Manu, just how sort of phenomenal Capitol Hill police were in responding to this and how prepared Capitol Hill folks were. Sadly, for something like this.
If there's any place in the country that's prepared for something like this, I think you'd have to say it's the United States Capitol. And this is something I'm sure that they've practiced over and over again.